Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. It's the Wednesday KARE 11 Spectacular on the Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota. We're so glad you're with us today. Find our audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed, and we're also streaming video, the Locked On Vikings YouTube channel. Lots of ways to watch and listen. Also, feel free to comment in the chat. We might get to that before the end of the show. And before the show is done, top remaining questions that the Vikings face as they enter their pre-camp hiatus. JJ McCarthy's stats. How will they stack up against the other quarterbacks the Vikings consider this offseason? Plus, Justin Jefferson is a year older. Is he in his prime? Is he still a young receiver? Where is he at in the duration of his career? We address that heavy philosophical question as well on the Minnesota Football Party. Let's meet today's group. Sans Reggie Wilson, who, congratulations to him, was a father on Father's Day. We miss him, and we'll miss him for the next month or so, but we still have a healthy crew today. Let's go around the horn.
I'm Ron Johnson, former Gophers and NFL wide receiver, and looking forward to this offseason because we're going to have some Dante Culpepper conversations coming up in the next week or two, enjoying that. But also, what does he think about Justin Jefferson? And Spice Adams also turned 45, so Justin Jefferson is definitely not old. I don't know what Julia is going to say about that.
I'm Julia Daniels, sports reporter at KARE 11. Holding down the fort at KARE 11 for the next almost 2 months. So be sure that you're tuning in. We're going to be covering everything while Reggie's out. Congratulations to Reggie. Like I told him already, it's so nice to finally have another girl in the sports department. So excited for him. Excited to talk Vikings. Kind of feels like that weird in-between space right now.
It definitely is. The Vikings did come out and announce the training camp schedule, so it's starting to feel real. Training camp is almost here. Not quite yet. Still got about 5 weeks to go until everybody reports to TCO. So I pose the question to kick us off. What is the top remaining question that we have facing the Vikings in this lull before training camp begins? I think we probably have settled into some things. The Vikings have pretty much made their roster into what it's going to be. We got to see JJ McCarthy with healthy legs out on the field. But Ron, what are you still questioning in this build-up to training camp?
So the build-up to training camp, I guess personally, I am still questioning who is going to be cornerback 2. Like I know the roster is pretty much set. There could be a veteran still. But I think cornerback 2 is going to be a big part of this. Now, we know they can score points, but can they stop the other team from scoring points? We know Brian Flores. We heard Theo Jackson talk about this. What he does is amazing, but it doesn't matter if you don't have another cornerback that you can trust. I think he has guys in the building with Ambry Thomas. You got Isaiah Rodgers. You got Jeff Okudah. But that's what I'm worried about the most is who is cornerback 2. I look at it like this. For anybody who's ever baked a cake, or made cupcakes. Or I just recently did this with my daughters. They like to do this. I don't know why, but we did rainbow jello. So it takes a day or two because you got to keep making layers. And imagine having the jello and you only use the hot water. You don't put the cold water in there. It is super thick. It's just not moving well and it doesn't taste good. So you have to have both hot and cold water. So you got on one side, Byron Murphy Jr. That's the hot water. On the other side, you got to find that cold water to make that jello consistency well. If not, you're going to have a slow, stiff, like just not moving product that you really don't want to eat. And we want to consume the Vikings defense. And so I'm looking for cornerback number 2.
Yeah, I respect that. And I would just bounce off that and say the whole secondary, I think, is a bit of a question. I think you've got 3 new faces there from last year. You lose Shaq Griffin, lose Stephon Gilmore, lose Cam Bynum. So if you think of your starting lineup as 3 corners and 2 safeties, 60% is new. Theo Jackson's unproven. Isaiah Rodgers hasn't been in this big of a role before, and your CB3 is still very much a question as well, whether it's Okudah, whether it's Blackman. You do have question marks all up and down. And I think that the defense in general, like you turned over about half of the starters. Now, in some places you upgraded, like your defensive line's stronger, but you do have a lot of new personnel. Is it going to take a minute to get them all on the same page, playing the way Brian Flores needs them to? So I think Ron raises a good point. Julia, what are you still questioning?
I mean, we've yet to see Kevin O'Connell establish a run game, right? So while they've put all the pieces in place for a run game, we've yet to see it come to fruition, and that's just because of where we're at this time of the year, right? So I think my big question is, you bring in Jordan Mason, you beef up your O-line, you draft Donovan Jackson. Can you put all the pieces together to make it happen? It's just something that we haven't seen Kevin O'Connell able to do yet, and I think it's a mixture of not having the correct parts in order to make that happen, right? And you also bring Aaron Jones back. You have, you saw the spark in him, but you didn't really have a lot to back it up in that sense. And I'm not calling him old, but I'm just saying you can't run him like you used to. You know what I mean? And so you bring in a guy like Jordan Mason, which I think is one of the best offseason pickups that they had this year. And you hope that that's something that you can establish, especially when you're bringing in a quarterback that hasn't played in an NFL game yet. It's important that they have that run game there for him and have that option. And so I think, like bringing in Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, obviously, like I said, drafting an offensive lineman in the first round with your first pick of the draft this year was important. And Kwesi and both Kevin O'Connell have talked about that's something that they're making a priority this season. And it's something that we haven't seen them make a priority yet so far. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes into play this season. But I'm not saying that I'm fully confident that they can make it happen even with the parts that they have, just because we haven't seen it yet. And we know Kevin O'Connell, big quarterback guy. So.
Yeah, I just looked it up while you were talking. In the run game, the 3 years of KOC, 11th worst in yards, 4th worst in yards, 6th worst in yards. And it's not always about volume. Like sometimes you just need to be efficient, but they haven't been that either. And they've tinkered every year. First it was Dalvin Cook, then it was Alexander Madison, then it was Aaron Jones. Now it's Jones plus Mason. It feels like it's the best situation they've had yet. I think Jordan Mason is sitting on a huge season. I mean, I think Julia hit the nail on the head there. Might be the most impactful acquisition this offseason in conjunction with what you did with the offensive line to add those 3 linemen and then the running back behind them who's got as much potential as he does. I love the outlook for Jordan Mason. Maybe I'll select him in our Pro Bowl draft later in the show before it's all said and done. Ron, any other lingering questions for you before we move on?
I mean, some of these don't matter, but it's always kicker for me too. Like, I mean, it's super dumb. We know, but like you always get to camp.
It's not dumb when you're a Vikings fan.
Like you always get to camp and you're like, how is the kicker going to be this year? Because I've gone through the Blair Walsh years of like, he's good, he's strong, he's big, he's good, he's skinny again, he's good, he's back to lifting weights. Like you just hope that we can go through this year, this training camp, this season. Because I remember playing for the Ravens, and I don't ever remember. I mean, because we had Matt Stover, we had Dave Zosito, 2 really good punter kickers. I don't ever remember people being like, "Oh my goodness, I hope Matt Stover makes this kick." Like it just, for some reason, something about Vikings kickers. I don't know if it's the ghost, the skeletons. Like, let's just get through a training camp where like some rookie kicker doesn't come in and just blows the doors off. And everybody's like, oh my God, do we have a kicking controversy already? And then it puts pressure on the kicker, and then he's missing kicks. And all of a sudden we're like, where's the kid that we had before from Alabama? Like, I just want to get through this training camp. And the worst thing we have to think about is who is cornerback 2? Like, that's it. Like, let's just get through the training camp of that. Also, I do have a lingering question. Is Cardi B coming to Minneapolis? Like, the Mall of America is so awesome.
Coming, Ron.
Like,
she's not coming.
I'm pretty sure the Vikings are either going to put the Patriots at the Omni, but I do know I've heard some guys saying they want to stay at the Mall of America, and so and they're rich, so all they got to do is get another room over there, take a.
Don't the Vikings stay at the Omni? Also,
the Vikings said, but there's a lot of rooms over there.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure, but I do know I've heard like the Mall America is one, because that's not too far from Eagan anyway. It's not too far from the facility. But yeah, I think they would give like the Vikings players, or like, I forgot what floors they were on, and then the visitors would have a different floor.
I don't see Cardi B staying at the Omni or Mall of America. If she's coming, she's staying at the Four Seasons.
Yeah, but Julia, Stefan knows the area. He lives here. He knows how to get a boat on Lake Minnetonka.
Exactly. Cardi B. We've seen Kim Kardashian on Lake Minnetonka with Chris Humphries. We've seen J Lo out there with A-Rod.
Didn't Taylor Swift stay in Wayzata when she came here for the Eras tour?
I don't know, but they weren't here for boo. Like they weren't here. Like Kim Kardashian was here. She was here for her boo. Back when she married Chris Humphries for 72 days. I think that was before Julia was here. But yeah, Kim Kardashian spotted all on Big Island a couple times. You got J-Lo here with A-Rod. By the way, A-Rod, you fumbled that one. Just go get her back. But yeah, I mean, Cardi B. Huh? J-Lo was
never here with A-Rod.
Yeah, she was. Oh, trust me. I followed J-Lo. I don't know if she went to the game. She was here.
Ron journaled about it that day.
I got the J-Lo watch. She was here. She was here for the meetings though, because that was the whole reasoning behind her and him together. It was their money together.
Let's do some Google searching. Keep going.
But what's her name?
Yeah,
Cardi B. We got to get Cardi B here. Like Cardi B's got to come here. If not for anything, like it just adds to the whole drama of Stephon Diggs coming back to Minneapolis. Like just come back and then all the media is going to be worried about Cardi B and is Offset going to be here or something like that. Like, it's just, I just love the way that works.
Yeah, here's going to be covering that, Ron.
Because I look at, yes, and the actual media people that follow it. But I look at the Giants right now with Sierra and Russell Wilson. Like I talked to Tyler Nubin about that. And that's all people were talking about is like, what is that going to be like? Sierra's in the building. I know we had Tyler Nubin on the show this summer, and that was the first, or this fall. No, sorry, winter. And that's the first thing he talked about is like, yeah, I'm not going to be ashamed to go up to Sierra and talk to her. So I think that's the key too. Is like a lot of the Vikings players are fans of Cardi B. So I think this becomes a different conversation when you get her and Stephon Diggs in the building. But that's another thing I'm looking at. I just want to see the training camp drama of what else can come this season.
It's hard to nail down exact dates, but like the time of the breakup was very, very close to the time where A-Rod announced that he was, the Timberwolves owner. Like the two are maybe one thing led to another. I don't know. Oh. But there's maybe a little bit of overlap there. It's possible that Lopez showed up to a game maybe late in that season. I'll have to find some.
Only thing I remember is people saying he was using her, like as part of for the owners' meetings. Like I think they said they met in somewhere in one of his houses, and somebody's comment. It's in like an article. They said like J-Lo, they came in and J-Lo had just got done working out. And, A-Rod's like, oh, this is my girlfriend, Jennifer, as if like they don't know who that is.
I just remember people speculated that after they broke up, does A-Rod have the money now?
That's the other part.
Yeah, A-Rod's estate shrunk considerably when he broke up with J-Lo because she had so much capital. So yeah,
Glenn Taylor knew. That's why he went to arbitration. He was trying to shake him down.
Let's see. Did this start with a Minnesota Vikings question? Yeah, Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Joint practices.
Looking forward to it. I can't wait.
I'm proud of us for being so creative that we didn't even have to mention JJ McCarthy's season, because we're going to get to JJ McCarthy in our next segment. We're going to compare how JJ will perform this year with the other quarterbacks the Vikings considered. Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, even Daniel Jones. It's coming up next. Monarch Money brings us today's show. I got a big credit card bill due tomorrow. We took vacation, and the bill hits tomorrow. Not going to be fun, but I can rest more easily because I have full visibility and control with Monarch Money. It's an app that I use constantly. I track the accounts. I track the transactions. I categorize them. Seriously, it gives you peace of mind. It makes you feel in control of your finances, and it helps you build wealth when you know where the money is. You don't just, wait for the bill to hit and, there's the account and it's gone. Nope. Monarch Money gives you day-to-day visibility and control to manage your money with great insights on where the money's actually going, whether it's restaurants, whether it's utilities, whether it's entertainment. You can collaborate with a partner quite easily as well for smooth financial tracking. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. And again, we are live, Locked On Vikings YouTube channel. Our audio shows up on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed as well. All right, JJ McCarthy's 2025 season. Let's compare it. Let's compare it to the other quarterbacks that could have been wearing purple this season. Chiefly among them, Sam Darnold, who I still think the Vikings probably made an offer to, probably a low offer. He didn't accept. He went to Seattle. So, Julia, let's start with you. How do you forecast how McCarthy does this year for the Vikings compared to Darnold in Seattle?
And I just was wondering, should I dog on Sam Darnold or not? Here's the thing. I don't think Sam Darnold's the same quarterback without Kevin O'Connell. I just don't think that he is. And so I'm going to have to go. I feel like it sounds stupid because it's like we haven't seen JJ McCarthy in an NFL game, which we keep talking about. But I'm always going to put a little bit more faith in whoever Kevin O'Connell's coaching up, just because I have the faith in Kevin O'Connell more than I have in either of the quarterbacks. So I'm going to go JJ McCarthy because he's going to have his right-hand man there on the sideline telling him what's going on, what he sees, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, I'm going to say JJ McCarthy, yes, would have better stats than Sam Darnold. Also, just throw in the fact, too, that, like, the offense that they've built up around him as well. It's hard. They're leaving as little room for error as possible for JJ McCarthy right now.
Yeah, Seattle trades away DK Metcalf as well, so he loses a weapon there. And yeah, Mike McDonald, by the way, the new right-hand man for Sam Darnold in Seattle, the head coach there. Ron, what do you? How would you compare McCarthy and Darnold?
So, McCarthy to Darnold, I think this is going to be a lot closer than people assume. The reason is our guy Clint Kubiak. He is in Seattle. And we know Clint Kubiak with his quarterbacks and his offensive coordination, his dad, Kubiak as well, Gary. We know what that was about. And that is a West Coast team, and they're going to have that vibe. I think when they saw what Sam Darnold did under Kevin O'Connell, true West Coast gunslinger, being able to understand the offense, being able to understand the number system, being able to, like, because we've heard Kevin O'Connell's calls when they're mic'd up. By the way, the Vikings only release it when they know Kevin O'Connell's okay with it, and he's kind of throwing that play away. But we've heard some of his calls. And so if you think about this, so I'm not giving out any secrets, but when you think about, zip motion, 383 wide choice, you're just telling your tight end you have the choice. You have 2-3 routes, and you have an 8 route by the slot receiver, which is either Justin Jefferson screaming to the post or whatever. That's the same thing Seattle and the West Coast offense does. That's the same thing, the reason why. And again, Geno Smith, I broke down a lot of Seattle Seahawks film when we did it on Vikings Game Day Live. Mm-hmm. And the one thing I'll go back to that Sam Darnold's going to benefit from, Geno Smith threw for 4,000 yards, 4,320 yards. You look at Kenneth Walker. He has the ability to rush from Michigan State. That's my guy, Big Ten guy, 573 yards. They're not a running team. It's an afterthought for them to run the ball. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba, 1,100 yards. You also have Zach Charbonnet. You got DK Metcalf, who's gone now, and that's going to be the question mark. Who fills in for DK Metcalf? Because is it going to be a straight-up George Pickens, or did George Pickens go somewhere else? Where did he end up going? Dallas?
Pickens is in Dallas. Metcalf's in Pittsburgh, and Cooper Kupp is the guy in Seattle now.
Cooper Kupp, that's the other. I couldn't remember who they've replaced.
So random.
So you add Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I think Sam Darnold gets it done. And Cooper Kupp is this is one of the reasons why. So a lot of people don't understand the chess move that was happening here. DK Metcalf is not a choice receiver. He's a big body, Pittsburgh, comeback built receiver. You now have Cooper Kupp, who's a choice route receiver. We heard that from Justin Jefferson when we had him on. We heard that from Adam Thielen as far as the routes within Kevin O'Connell's offense. Same thing in Seattle. They need a choice route runner, and Cooper Kupp's the best at it. So I think Sam Darnold knows the choice route offense now. And so I think he's going to be pretty good. I think JJ, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, because you got a rookie guy that's never seen anything. He's never seen bullets. So I think it's going to be even. It's going to be pretty even.
I also think that Sam Darnold's going to be under duress a lot in Seattle. I don't know about McCarthy. I think McCarthy's going to be a little better protected. I don't know how Darnold responds if the offensive line.
Poor Sam.
Yeah. No, and I feel, and hey, that's my name. I have empathy. When people say poor Sam, I feel it. I don't want to be chased around back there. I don't want to take 9 sacks in a game. Little perspective. I'll give you the FanDuel lines. JJ McCarthy projected at 3,650 yards this year. Sam Darnold projected at 3,400. So the betting market likes JJ McCarthy a little bit more. What do we think, though, about Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh? He's projected, by the way, 3,200 yards with the Steelers. There's a rematch, Vikings against Rodgers in Ireland, that sold out in like 10 minutes yesterday. There was a queue of 600,000 people trying to get tickets. Crazy. It's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
608,000.
608,000 people trying to get tickets. I'm going to guess that most of
at
them
one point
didn't.
It was 624,000 people were in the queue.
Why do you even bother? If you're 607,584th in line, why are you even waiting?
You hope everybody fell asleep when the Jordan release, when the Jordan shoes dropped. You hope some idiot couldn't check out, and then you've been skipped.
Sounds like the Taylor Swift Eras tour trying to get
tickets.
Yeah.
That's what Pat McAfee. I don't know if you saw that, Sam. His comment was that the NFL, seeing that queue, we're probably going to see multiple weeks of games moving at some point where they're all in, like week 5, not one team, but like week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, to try to get those 600,000 people into a full stadium with NFL games back to back to back, almost giving them a season, type of thing over there in Ireland, like a 4-game season of maybe Jacksonville stays twice because we know they love to be overseas and they'll take the money. But yeah, I could easily see that, or maybe a couple teams do that where the Vikings stay for 2 weeks there versus having to travel. And they're like, look, let's get you 2 games over there. We'll get you 2 different opponents, and then that opponent stays, and then they get another opponent. Kind of like you're going to do 2 weeks there, and we're going to keep sending people, and then you're done with your 2 weeks. I mean, the NFL is trying to make money and be international like the NBA. I see that happening.
East Coast to Ireland, also not a bad flight. If you go Ireland, Europe, it seems like Europe is very condensed. It's actually pretty spread out. Like Ireland is far west enough that if you're an East Coast team, it's probably about the equivalent of going West Coast to East Coast within the States. It's really not that bad of a trip. But Aaron Rodgers.
So are you saying the entire East Coast of the NFL is going to have to go over there now?
I'm saying that if you're an East Coast team, you might be asked to go there a little bit more. If you're a Pittsburgh Steelers, yeah, this might become a thing. But Ron, how do you forecast Rodgers' season with Pittsburgh versus McCarthy here?
I just think Rodgers, I don't see it. You got to show it to me. Like, he's married now too, so maybe that helps this like weirdness that he had in his life. But like for so many women to talk about how bad of a guy he is, I'm hoping he got the help he needed, because it sounds like he's an abusive verbal person, and maybe not in like a way that he assumes. Like, he might just think he's being frank or honest or whatever. I mean, we've seen reality TV dudes that say stuff to women and we're like, dude, did you just say, like, why'd you just say that? And I feel like Aaron Rodgers might be that type of guy, because you see him on so many interviews saying stuff to anybody that's kind of weird, like, and just calling people out and just being mean. So I just don't know if he has football in him anymore. Like, he's been so focused on other stuff. Like, we'll see. I think he's so hell bent on proving everybody wrong that he forgets that he needs to still prove the Pittsburgh Steelers right. And so I worry about that. And again, he has DK Metcalf, but we know DK Metcalf is willing to crash out too. So that's going to be interesting. Like, Aaron Rodgers maybe throws a tablet, DK Metcalf throws Aaron Rodgers. Like, I just don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, and we never thought of Aaron Rodgers as a mobile quarterback per se, but throwing on the run was such a strength of his. And I don't know if he can do that effectively anymore. Julia, do you see a path where Rodgers has a resurgent season, or do you think McCarthy is going to be the preferred? I mean, this has been the topic all offseason, right? McCarthy or Rodgers. Right. But now that he's in Pittsburgh, how do you think it plays out for him?
I just don't see. I'm with Ron on this. Like, I have a hard time imagining like a super successful year for him. I just think like gone are the days of him solely focusing on, like, he can say it all he wants, right? He can say that this is all he's focusing on, and football this, football that, this, that, the other. He clearly has a lot of distractions in his life, and he feels the need to like go resort to crazy measures in order to get his brain right? Like, something's not adding up here. I don't know about, like, I saw that he's married now. I don't know what all that's about. I think I'm not saying the marriage in particular, but I think what Aaron Rodgers is about is Aaron Rodgers. And I think he's interested in doing whatever he can to get attention. at whatever moment in time. So, I don't know if like being a team player and being a competitor is necessarily his motivation headed into the season, but more so if I come in and say I want to win a Super Bowl, maybe it happens, maybe not, but like that's the attention that it's going to get me, and winning a Super Bowl is going to get me attention, and I think that's what he's most interested in most of the time anyways.
Have we seen this woman though? Like, could this be
I don't
another
know who
like
it is.
Aaron Rodgers scam? Like when
That's
he
what
said
I
he
was like, yeah, maybe he's just like in his head. He's like, this is one of my
right.
mental.
I'm married to the game. Like, what if he comes back and said, I'm married to the game? Like, I got
She's
married to the game
AI.
a couple of weeks.
AI
Or she's
wife.
Manti Te'o's girlfriend. Like, who knows? Like, do we really know? Like, is he really married? Because we haven't actually seen any pictures or actual woman. Like,
No.
like he's too public to like, like he's out there. Nobody's snapped a picture of him with this woman. Like, how? You're Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm missing.
Yeah.
Something's missing. Something's off here.
But,
But again,
like,
when they asked him if he was vaccinated, he said he was immunized.
But
So-
even Longoria and Ryan Gosling hid their marriage for like a decade. So, and all their kids.
But they were seen together though. We just didn't know they were married. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers with an actual female.
I don't know. Is that the same kind of scene together as like A-Rod and J-Lo? Because I'm still not sure that happened either.
A-Rod, J-Lo. Who knows? He might have been faking that one too. He never really had her.
I actually play this out in my mind, probably, like once a week, maybe. What if this Aaron Rodgers offseason had been just 1 year earlier? Wouldn't the Vikings have absolutely signed him?
Yeah.
Like 1 year earlier, when you draft McCarthy, but he needs the redshirt year. He obviously hurts his knee. I think Rodgers is a Viking. I think it actually plays out, and I think it would have played out in a way that people would have embraced it probably a little bit more too, because you were just coming off Cousins. You didn't quite have, your young quarterback was still too new. It would have made sense to have a 1 year bridge. I just think 1 year earlier, this all could have been different, and Rodgers could be in purple, but he's not. I think that this is
and Rodgers wanted that too. He wanted to be in Minnesota. So
he did. I think you're right about that. I think he absolutely did.
He was like, look at how much attention Brett Favre got when he did it.
But this would have been Minnesota's fate though. We would have got Aaron Rodgers instead of the Jets, and then Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles as a Viking.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Things would have played out differently. And honestly, probably not as well as it went with Darnold. It probably would have been a less satisfying season. The Darnold thing was just so unexpected.
The vibe would have been off in the locker room.
Yeah.
Completely off.
Yeah, unquestionably. Last one, quick one. Is the dark horse Daniel Jones? Like, is Daniel Jones actually going to go to Indianapolis, win the job, and is he actually going to be the best of the bunch that the Vikings almost signed and did try to sign for $10 million? He went to Indy. Julia, do you think is that kind of the sneaky outcome here, that we actually regret not keeping Daniel Jones?
Is Anthony Richardson, how bad is his injury?
Good question. I think that injuries and Anthony Richardson are always going to be a thing, and that's why Daniel Jones could play a lot of games this year.
Yeah. Oh, God. I don't know. I think Daniel Jones may be starting his revenge tour a little bit. So, I'm rooting for him to do well. But he's just another one where I'm like, this is like such a toss-up. Like, things could go really well or things could go horribly wrong for him in that organization. Also, I think the Pacers really did make a deal with the devil. And so all of the rest of the pro sports teams there are just screwed. I mean, look at the fight that happened last night with the W, like something's off in Indianapolis. And so, luck is really not on Daniel Jones' side this season. So I'm going to go JJ McCarthy on this one. Because I'm not, I don't know, something's weird going on in Indy. So I'm not going to mess with that one.
Can't think of the last time the Colts had like a great offense post Andrew Luck. It's been a lot of different quarterbacks, a lot of tries, a lot of attempts. Hasn't always played out really well. Ron, your thoughts on Jones?
I've never really felt like Daniel Jones was the actual answer, so no. I mean, I did talk to Reggie Wayne about this, and the weapons there are legit. They do have some weapons, but they're not take the top off burners. They're not Justin Jefferson types. They're just a great crew of guys. Like all of them play well, and they have a great receiving coach who's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. It should be in the Hall of Fame by now. But can Daniel Jones get it done? How long is Anthony Richardson out? Is somebody else gonna? Is this just a stopgap type of situation? I don't know, but I do feel like Daniel Jones could fit in there. But does this offense still feel like it was with Peyton Manning? Also, the 17 on him looks weird. I keep seeing Phillip Rivers for some reason. Like every time I see a video, I'm like, is that Phillip Rivers? And I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's Daniel Jones.
The number of kids Phillip Rivers has, 17.
Because they just have the same motion, that 17. It just every time I see it now, I'm like, is that Phillip Rivers? Like, nope, that's Daniel Jones. Because then they show his face. I'm like, oh, they got a dumb look on his face. Like he always had that stupid look. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I'm cute. The ladies love me. I don't know what's going on. No, I don't think so. I think JJ McCarthy. Yeah, that's his voice, Julia.
I think he looks like this all the time.
But the ladies love him on social media. I don't know what it is. They love that look. Like it's almost like they just think he doesn't care about it. Like he's
Daniel Jones.
Yes, look at the social media posts from some of the girls on Twitter. It's just like he's so they think he's so like I forgot the word they were using, but it's like he doesn't think he's a quarterback. Like it's like he's just a bro. Like
he's so aloof.
Yeah, he's just like he doesn't go around like like Shedeur Sanders. He's a quarterback. People think he's a quarterback. He thinks he's a quarterback. You can't tell him he's not a quarterback. You look at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers will tell you he's a quarterback. Daniel Jones is just like, I'm just a guy. I'm out here. I'm just Daniel. Hanging out. I'm Daniel.
I like doing puzzles.
So, doing puzzles. 500-piece puzzles. So, so that's what I look at it. So, no, I don't think he will. I really hope, and Julie, I agree with Julie on this. I really hope Kevin O'Connell has JJ McCarthy somewhere meditating right now, coming back thinking, my goal, 4,300 yards minimum. 4,300. I'm throwing this thing because you got TJ Hockenson, JJ, and Addison. You got to keep all three happy. And so what's the and you got a screen right? You got two screen game running backs in Mason and what's his name, Aaron Jones. And if you think about what Mason did in replacement of Christian McCaffrey, he can catch the ball. Like he can catch the ball. He almost got in trouble for telling the world he already knew he was going to be the starting running back, but he can catch the ball.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are loaded. I would take McCarthy wholeheartedly, statistically, over any of the other three quarterbacks we discussed. Let's pause briefly and then come back with Justin Jefferson. Let's just take a snapshot in time of where he's at in his career, and we will try to coax Julia to call him old. That's next. Big birthday celebration for Justin Jefferson on Monday. He turned 26 years of age. He's going into his 6 seasons now. He's collecting Social Security. He's getting his affairs in order. His living will. He's 26. How many years do we expect him to do this at the level he's doing it? No drop off in the first 5 years at all. I don't think we can call him, Ron, a young receiver anymore. I think he's a veteran receiver who's in his prime. Tell me if you disagree. How many years more do you think that we get this version of Justin Jefferson?
Me or Julia? Next me?
Ron, go ahead.
I think he could do this till he's 35. I mean, honestly, like today's receiver, an athlete at that, has so much more information about body. Like we didn't know certain foods we were supposed to eat. We weren't like I didn't get a true nutritionist until like my 5th year with the Bears. Like that's when I finally sat down and somebody was like, hey, this time you should eat. This is what you should eat. This is how many calories you should intake. Like we didn't I look back at the Ravens back then in the early 2000s compared to now. It is amazing, the technology and the food and even the Gophers. Like when I played for the Gophers, I ate crap, literally ate crap. Like it was like, and then I was just talking to the Vikings nutritionist and strength guy, and the amount of stuff we thought we should eat before games, like we got to eat heavy pasta and we should eat steaks and we should do all this. No, like these guys now are eating like crisp and green salad bowls with rice and beans, and they're understanding their calorie intake. They're doing hyperbaric chambers. They're doing IVs to get liquid replenishment. Like we're doing B12 shots. Like I did a B12 shot with a couple Vikings guys by a legal doctor, by the way, people. But it was a company out there with Kyle Rudolph, and they're like, hey man, these B12 shots will help you like recover from, because I guess the guys went out the night before, and so they were all doing. So I'm like, sure, let me get one. It is amazing, which you don't realize how many vitamins. And I went out and actually bought the pills. Like I went and bought B12 pills because I'm like, I didn't know my body needed that stuff. But now these guys know all that. So I think he can go to his 35.
Oh, I did a little digging on this too, and I think 35 is a good answer. So Chris Carter, this will blow your mind. Chris Carter is 13th all time in receiving yards. He didn't start having 1,000-yard seasons until he was 28. That's how good he was deep into his 30s. Terrell Owens was getting 1,000-yard seasons till he was 35. Chris Carter until he was 35. Larry Fitzgerald until he was 34. Marvin Harrison until he was 34. Randy Moss until he was 32. So the elite receivers, and I think we agree, Julia, that Justin Jefferson is an elite receiver. They do this all the way through their 20s. They do it into their 30s. And that's how they, plant themselves in Canton and get a Hall of Fame bust someday. So do we think Justin Jefferson is the guy to do it that deep into his career?
Oh, 100%.
B12.
Proof.
My
Proof
God.
is in the
100%. And to Ron's point, every year, like recovery and just like the aid that these guys get in terms of taking care of themselves gets better and better. And so I think he has a better chance than everyone before him to have longevity in his career. And I think that he makes that such a priority too. And he has from the start, which is something that like a lot of guys, like to Ron's point again, he's talking about when he was in college and this, that, and the other. Well, I can tell you, I was in college when Justin Jefferson was in college, and I was a part of the Alabama football program, and LSU. All the SEC schools are very similar in terms of the caliber of recovery and information that they have about staying healthy and these kind of things. So it has started like taking care of himself. It started probably when he was 18 years old as a freshman at LSU, that he started taking care of his body in a way that he probably hadn't before, but he had that, which all of the legends that you talk about in terms of receivers probably didn't have any of that when they were in college. And so I give him, if we're talking 35, I mean, potentially even longer than that a little bit. I mean,
45.
Yeah, he's going to be the Tom Brady of wide receivers. But I genuinely think, like, knock on wood, fingers crossed, warranting no major injuries, he has the opportunity to have longevity. I mean, like you said, we haven't seen a drop off yet. And not saying that he's not been in the league like a super long time anyways, but I think he's got better opportunity than basically anybody before him to continue being in his peak for a while.
Yeah. I think the only thing that slows him down is just the weird financial landscape of the NFL, in that it seems to happen more and more where the second you show decline, teams are trying to get out from your contract. And Justin Jefferson's going to play at like league high contracts the rest of his career. And if you're not producing at a league high level, that can be onerous on your salary cap. So if we saw a bit of a decline from Justin, I think then if he ever became a financial liability, well, then you start bouncing around, first you're trying to restructure your contract. Okay, he doesn't want to do that. Then he gets cut. Then he goes to another team, and that team may not, be able to sign him for more than a year. And then he's bouncing around from team to team. That's how careers kind of fizzle. I would hate to see that happen with Justin Jefferson, but I just think like the landscape of the league sometimes expires good players if they show the slightest decline. Like Julio Jones. Julio Jones was on this trajectory until he was 30 years old. He was probably, people were probably talking about him being one of the greatest yardage receivers of all time. Well, had a bad year in Atlanta, got cut, went to Tennessee, went to Tampa, went to Philadelphia, and got, kind of less effective every year and was out of the league. at age 34. So I think there's a couple different levels. Like, can he do this till 30? Almost certainly. Can he do it to 35? That's the separator. That's what separates him, in the greats from the, what's one level below all-time great? All-time good?
Satisfactory.
Satisfactory. A satisfactory Hall of Fame career. Versus,
but here, Sam, but you brought up a
yeah.
good point about Chris Carter. Chris Carter has been mentoring Justin Jefferson. Like, he's been talking to him whenever he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back to old tape, because I remember when I played in college and I got a chance to meet Chris Carter for the first time, Chris Carter was one of the only receivers doing like getaway camps. He started that whole thing. He started the like come out to Florida with me, work out with me, a bunch of guys. He probably didn't have the best food opportunities, but he was trying to take care of his body in the offseason, doing workouts. I remember he talked about when Randy Moss got drafted, that's the first thing he did was call Randy, hey, you need to come down to Florida with me. No, not when he first got drafted, the year after. But he said after his rookie season, he said, you need to come down to Florida with me because trust me, I'll keep you in this league for a long time. Chris Carter, after leaving, I think, was it Philly? He realized the mistakes he made, and he's like, I never want to make that mistake again. So I think he's on Justin Jefferson about that too. Like, hey, you have a chance to play to your 35, 36, 37, 38. Like, and about the contracts, you're dead on. If Adam Thielen doesn't start having those injuries, the Vikings probably don't mind paying him that money. But he started getting hurt every season with like a knee, then an ankle, then a thigh, then a knee again. It's just like, then a hamstring. Like, they just like, man, this like we can't keep him on the field. So I think that was, and that's where Stephon Diggs got to be careful now. Like, this is now his third injury. He's got like, if he gets hurt again, teams are not going to want to pay him $69 million. They're going to offer him the bare bones, and he's going to have to decide: do I want to sit on a yacht all day, or do I want to still play football?
That's a great point, Ron. Yeah, the future of Justin Jefferson, I just hope it's in Minnesota. I just hope, and Adam Thielen's a great example. Like, I don't think you would have ever expected there to be a point where Adam Thielen was not only not going to be a Viking, but be cut by the Vikings. But with the production, the injuries, the contract, it did make sense at the time. One more segment to go. We're going to draft potential Vikings Pro Bowlers next on the Football Party. Here's how it's going to work. We are going to do a snake draft. We each get 3 selections. We're trying to pick Pro Bowlers on this year's Vikings team. No duplicates. So if somebody steals your guy, tough cookies. Julia, we'll give you the first pick, ladies first. And we'll give you, you could go with Justin Jefferson, I suppose, but that wouldn't be very creative. So which direction do you want to go?
I'm going to go Jonathan Grenard.
All right. I respect it.
I think he's being set up for another really great season. I think he's going to step into, I think he, last year he was a little bit overlooked in terms of the impact that he made. And I think that he's going to get a little bit more shine, a little bit more spotlight this year. I think he's going to play just as well, if not better. He's gotten used to the floor. He didn't really have a hard time last year with Flores defense, but going into a second year, you always have a little bit more confidence. So I'm going Jonathan Grenard.
It's a good pick. Good pick, Ron.
He's going to come back and do it. TJ Hawkinson.
TJ. I like it. I think, I got to go with the perennial Pro Bowler. Really an easy pick. I hate to even do it, but I got to take Andrew DePaula.
Yep.
He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Who's to say he doesn't get number 4? DePaula all the way. Easiest selection. And it's a snake draft, so I get 2 of these picks. I'm going to go with Byron Murphy. I think Byron Murphy is going to have another, you could say last year was a breakout. I think he's going to have an even better season, Pro Bowl season. Ron, who's your next pick?
I think this has got to be the year. This has got to be the year. I think the fans, the people, the talk, Josh Metellus. I think Metellus has to go now. I don't care if he's a safety linebacker, you put him in there. Josh Metellus.
Yeah, I dig it. All right, Julia, you get 2 picks.
I'm going Andrew Van Ginkel.
2 edge rushers.
And yeah, I'll go Jordan Mason. I got faith in the guy. I think I think like we talked about earlier, I think he's being set up for a lot of success this season. And I think that, just after the work that he did stepping in for Christian McCaffrey last year, and I just think he's got a chip on his shoulder constantly, and that will serve its purpose this season.
Okay, Ron.
This is tough because he's not a name. So I'm thinking Blake Cashman, but he's not a name that people love. Like they don't know him. And Grenard, I like that pick too. I feel like between him and Gink, one of them has to go with this defense. Byron Murphy's a great one on this defense. I feel like we've gone a lot of defense, not a lot of offense. Shoot. I would have gone with this guy, but I don't know if he's hurt, so I don't know how many games he's going to get in. And Darisaw. This is a tough one. We're not going Justin Jefferson because that's easy. Shoot. Ryan Kelly, Will Fries are the new guys. Oh man, Harrison Smith on his swan song. Like it's so many options. I'm gonna go Blake Cashman. You know what? Blake Cashman is gonna have a great season. Yeah, I'm gonna go Blake Cashman. People are gonna know the middle linebacker for the Minnesota Vikings.
I respect it. I'm gonna swipe Darisaw from you. I think that Darisaw, even if he does 4 games on the pup, plays 13 games, I think he can still be a Pro Bowler. I'm gonna go with Christian Darisaw because
I think that's a good one. I'm just not sure about the injury. That's the only thing I was worried about. But he's definitely one of the best tackles in the NFL. No question.
Yeah, showed some positive signs last week. He was on the field at least doing some drills with the big brace on the leg. So maybe he's coming along. I think he's 50-50 to play week 1 though. I think it's still going to be tight for him to get a lot of work in training camp. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Bonus question for you guys before we get out of here. And then the people in the chat, you guys can chime in on this. This is the question of the day. Over, under. So percentage chance. Over 50% chance or under 50% chance of JJ McCarthy making the Pro Bowl in his first season playing quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to under.
So,
because 4,300 yards, Geno Smith has been a Pro Bowler with that. Also, remember, people decline the Pro Bowl and they have to go to the next quarterback. Kirk Cousins got in that way.
That's a good point, Ron. So, you don't necessarily need to be because a lot of times the top quarterback's in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
So they're out.
So they're not going.
Now, let's look at who he's competing against in the NFC because it's very conference specific. So last year, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, they all had more yards than Sam Darnold. And then it's a bunch of AFC guys. I mean, then you've got, Lamar, Mahomes, Rodgers, Herbert, Brock Purdy is in the NFC, Kyler Murray's in the NFC, Matt Stafford's in the NFC. I think that McCarthy could make a bid. I'm going to say more than 50%.
So in question, did Sam Darnold make, I can't remember, did Sam Darnold make the Pro Bowl?
Yes.
He did. Okay.
He did. Was he an alternate or did he get voted?
I don't remember. I thought I saw him in the throw-in contest thing because I remember Dan Orlovsky.
He was there. I don't remember if he was
added or not, but he is a Pro Bowler. He's a $100 million guy. So
deep in thought.
KOC. But yeah, there we go. I'm going to go over.
Yeah,
I think
he earned the honor. Yeah, it was his first Pro Bowl selection.
Yeah. So okay. I'm going to go with JJ McCarthy. I think over 50% chance. I just think the decline of some of those guys and the hype around it, because there's a lot of hype right now around KOC, and mainly from the main media pundits that put it in the minds of the voters. Like you got to think about Dan Orlovsky loves KOC. They love JJ McCarthy. What's his name? The other guy, Ryan Clark. All those guys respect KOC. And I think, when it comes to JJ McCarthy, they're gonna push him into the media. And then, Shannon Sharp, he talks about KOC. And it's Kevin O'Connell has the nod of a lot of people's respect right now. So that this will be an interesting year, but it's gonna come down to the quarterback. And there's no tugging him. You can't take him out the game. So I just wonder how many teams are gonna regret not drafting Shadur Sanders. If he ends up starting for the Browns and the Giants go with Jackson Dart, That's going to be interesting.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. Yeah. Man, I can't wait for football. Preseason football is not that far away, folks. So make sure you stay tuned to the Minnesota Football Party.
July 26th, training camp.
Training camp. Probably get some Fox 9 coverage out there. It'll be great. Also, check out all the Care 11 coverage leading up
I was
to
going
training.
to say, and Care will be out there too.
No doubt.
Hey, Julia, we should do I told Sam last year I did it with the Gophers. I'm going to bring my camera thing, and then we'll get some fan back and forth with fans out there, and then put it on my show. So we'll come up with like a question of the day kind of teaser like the Vikings do on a whiteboard, and just have random fans come up and try to answer the question for us. Yeah.
And we get the cameo from Bo Daniels. What's up, Bo? He's wiggly today.
Stinky.
Julia Daniels, she's the boss now at Care 11 with Reggie Wilson out. Ron Johnson Show on Tuesdays. Dante Culpepper coming up next week. And I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks for watching. Check us out on the Locked On Vikings channel, Locked On Vikings audio feed, and we will talk to you next time.